Hello YouTube, it's Ryan here with Hobbies of a Man once again, and today we are doing another comic book by the issue review discussion. And today we're actually going to look at volume 1 or issue 1, sorry, of Dark Knights of Steel, which is the new Tom Taylor book, which is essentially this kind of fantasy take on the kind of DC lore, right? And it's actually quite good. Like I said, it's called Dark Knights of Steel. The author here is Tom Taylor, and the illustrator here is Yasmin Putri, who I have not seen any work from before, but I'm guessing that she's kind of relatively well known if she managed to get work here with Tom Taylor. So yeah. If you guys have seen other comic book by the issues or my Kaiju number 8 chapter reviews, I would usually have a news section and a recap section. But because this is the first issue, I don't really have that for this episode, but I will have it for the next. So yeah, let's get into it here. The review / discussion of what happens in this chapter. And actually, wait, right before we get into it, I do apologize if there's going to be no images of the book, but it takes a lot of time to do that, and I don't find that I have the time to dedicate to that right now. And honestly, it's kind of unfair to the content that I do for manga to kind of not treat them equally. So I'm not going to do any of those kind of more classic style review, breakdown, issue kind of things that other comic book content creators do. So yeah, if you guys prefer that, please do check out some other ones. But yeah, so Dark Knights of Steel opens up with the death of Krypton. So it's the end of the world, and the L family, Jor-El, his wife, and the yet unborn Kal-El get up on this rocket and blast over to Earth. Someone is narrating this kind of prophecy in the background. We get to see that something is being said, and we don't really know, but we get to see this prophecy being told, which is kind of ominous. It's about people that are like humans but are not humans, that have immense power, that show up. And we get to see this kind of ominous moment as Jor-El gets his powers from being powered by the yellow sun and uses it to decimate this group of people that are kind of attacking them because they just fell from the sky. As this is happening, Clark or Kal-El is being born, and this scene kind of ends with Jor-El happily holding his son and his wife. And we get this scene shift. We get a title card that says Kingdom of Storm, and we get to see a young Constantine on the floor, kind of just like kind of having this kind of seizure fit as he's the one that is telling us this prophecy. He's having a vision of this kind of harrowing future that comes our way, right? And as he's telling this prophecy to Black Lightning, who in this case is King Jefferson Pierce of the Kingdom of Storms, and that's basically it for that scene. So next scene here is another kind of title card that says 19 years later, and we get to see teen Kal-El and a young Bruce Banner. So I said teen, but they're about 20 years old, I guess. I think Bruce would be a bit younger than Kal-El because of plot stuff that happens later on, but more or less they're like teenagers. So classic epic fantasy type of setup, right? And Bruce is preparing his horse, and Alfred's right behind him. He's kind of like his squire or whatever. And they're kind of heading out with Alfred to fight some magic people because, Superman is weak to magic. And of course, if Superman and family end up being these kind of powerful people in the medieval period, they would of course be against magic users, right? And so Bruce and Alfred are preparing their horses, and they're having this conversation with Kal-El because Kal-El wants to join them on this expedition because he wants to protect his own people and stuff like that. And he doesn't like that Bruce has to protect them by himself, even though they basically have the same weaknesses, because even normal people are susceptible to magic, right? And Bruce, in his classic broody Batman persona, is like, no, you can't go. This is my fight, basically. And Kal-El is kind of sad, and everyone leaves, right? We get another scene shift to another village called Feist Village, and Bruce is there and with Alfred, and it's like late at night, and they meet up with the Robins, all 5 of them, I think. There's Tim Drake, Dick Grayson, the other kid, Barbara, and someone else. There's 5 of them total, if I remember correctly. And they're all talking to kind of Batman. They're telling him, what's going on and stuff like that. And basically, they kind of get information on this woman that has just gotten into town who is staying at this place. And they tell Bruce where it is. Bruce goes to meet her. And, it's this woman called Dinah, who is sleeping. And, Bruce wakes her up and he's about to kind of fight her, but then she opens her mouth and screams because this happens to be a black canary, right? And they are kind of have a fight basically, but Dinah is kind of surprised that Bruce doesn't die immediately from her magic scream. I'm not really sure that it's magic. I'm not too sure. But, in this medieval setting, it's magic because if it's not natural or normal, it has to be kind of magic, right? And, she's kind of surprised. She screams again, and Bruce is still alive, but because he gets screamed at again, he's kind of a lot in pain, or he's in a lot of pain, sorry. And, just as things are starting to get bleak, we get to see someone puts their hand over Dinah's mouth, and who shows up? Kal-El, aka young Superman, aka Clark Kent, right? And he helps Bruce knock her up. He's holding her in his hands. Dinah is struggling. She can't get out because he has super strength. And Bruce hits her with the pommel of his sword and knocks her out, right? And, they have a little bit of an altercation there about how he's not supposed to be there and stuff like that. And Kal-El, being the very noble kind of guy, is also talking about how she really shouldn't be kind of arrested and stuff like that. There's really nothing too special about her. She just happens to be defending herself because Bruce attacked her and stuff like that. And Bruce doesn't care. He takes her to the castle dungeons. We get another scene shift, and we get back to Kal-El or El Castle or whatever it's called. And Harley Quinn shows up. She is literally a Harlequin now, so that's pretty fun. And she shows up, and she's talking to the boys, and she's kind of teasing Bruce. Kal-El tells her, hey, relax. You don't have to be like that to him. And she tells them that they're in trouble, right? And we get a little bit of exposition here now that Kal-El and Bruce are standing in front of Jor-El and his wife as they are kind of sitting on their throne room. And, Bruce is trying to take all the blame. He's saying, I shouldn't have let him go and stuff like that. Kal-El is like, hey, man, you don't have to lie for me. I went because I wanted to. And they have this whole kind of exposition here about how Bruce is a bastard and how he's the son of a king and how the elves are kings because they have superpowers, and so people think that they're basically gods, and so they should be king and queen and stuff like that. And so Bruce has to be pushed to the wayside, and we get to see that magic is a situation that is kind of scary for the elf family because it is the only thing that can really hurt them. And because Kal-El is the last of his kind, his parents are very much interested in keeping him safe, and so they're using all the resources around them to do so. And of course, Bruce is a loyal subject of this family, and so he is the one that is taking this kind of stance to help them because basically medieval court politics, he's a bastard, but he's still important, so he has to do something to kind of prove his worth and stuff like that. And it's very basic kind of Game of Thrones-esque type of stuff. He's basically the Jon Snow to Eddard Stark and Robb Stark, right? And so that's kind of what happens there. And then we get another kind of scene shift. Now Jor-El and Bruce are talking on their own, and Jor-El's talking about how Bruce is a bastard and he was a mistake, but he is not. He was a mistake at a certain point, but he is not a mistake now. And we kind of get reveal that Bruce is Jor-El's son. He's half Kryptonian, I guess, which explains why he wasn't hurt by Dinah's scream, because he basically has I'm assuming he has some of the weaknesses, but not all of them that comes with being a Kryptonian, and of course vice versa with being a human. It's basically like Gohan being way more powerful than his dad, but naturally, but because his dad trained so much, he's way stronger. But Gohan being strong because he's half human, half Saiyan, right? And, we kind of get this big twist that Jor-El is the father of Bruce. And, they're talking, and there's a bit of lightning, and Bruce is kind of scared of it. And Jor-El's like, hey, relax, it's not that big of a deal. And because, the King of Storms is, what's it called? Black Lightning. Bruce says that, you should be scared. And they keep talking, and they're kind of having a moment. And as this is happening, we get to see another scene somewhere else where someone that looks like Oliver Queen is holding his bow and arrow, and someone that has a Green Lantern ring is charging the arrow with some sort of energy, right? Of course. And it gets shot, and lo and behold, it goes right through Jor-El's eye. And that's basically where it ends. We get to see the last scene, which is Bruce holding Jor-El in his lap, and having a classic Batman moment where his parents die in front of his face. And that's basically what happened. And overall, I thought this was a great first issue. I thought it was really interesting. Clearly, I really like Tom Taylor. And I really like his storytelling. I thought it was really interesting. I like the artwork here a lot. Jasmine Putri did a great job with it. It's very, very nice looking. I really did enjoy it. And I don't know, other than that, I don't have too much to say. I just thought it was really awesome. I really like the idea of taking superheroes and putting them in a medieval setting, which just makes them wizards, basically. But, I mean, it's still pretty awesome. It's very cool. And I'm interested to see how this kind of medieval setting kind of changes the way power scaling works in the DC universe and stuff like that, right? Because now you're introducing these kind of hard magic systems based on like the modern sci-fi kind of version of stuff. So I'm really looking forward to seeing how that goes. And so I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please leave a like, subscribe, and comment down below. Let me know what you thought. What do you guys think about this first issue here of Dark Knights of Steel? Did you guys like it? Did you guys not like it? How do you guys feel about this combination of epic fantasy and superhero and kind of turning it into one thing? But yeah, let me know down below, and see you guys later.